I'm not sure if anyone's aware of it, but the kind of rebooted animated Rocketeer show premiered on Disney Junior on Friday at the prime spot of 11 a.m. on a Friday. I think it was on Disney Channel, maybe not Disney Junior. I forget which. And it's going to premiere on 11 a.m. on Disney Junior on Fridays. I kind of had heard about this coming out, and I wasn't originally going to watch it. I had no plans to watch it, really. But my daughter had seen the commercials when we were watching the Toy Story of Terror, which we recorded off of Disney Junior. We're not really a Disney Junior household. And kept asking me when I'd fast forward during Toy Story of Terror, could you stop and could we watch? She was like, Daddy, stop. I want to watch this. And so she was really into it. And I thought, well, I was really into the Rocketeer when it came out that summer. It was a big deal to me. So we'll watch it together. They released 2 episodes, which are each episode has 2 shorts in it. And the first short, or 11-minute thing, was about her, getting the helmet. She gets the helmet in the mail, and then she brings it to her grandfather, and then he says, well, if anyone brought the helmet to me, I'm supposed to give them this, and it turned out to be the jetpack. And she is the great-granddaughter of the Rocketeer. Her grandfather is the son of the Rocketeer, the original Rocketeer. They have the same name as the Rocketeer. And actually, the actor who played the Rocketeer, the film that came out by Joe Johnston, is the voice of her dad. I like the concept of it because the first one, really, her dad is doing like an air show that is kind of like a World War II thing. They even reference like, it's like an air show from the 40s, kids. And I'm like, kids now don't care, but okay. And they're really selling the 1940s thing and stuff like that. So if you're a fan of the original movie, the first episode, I think, is very made for you to sort of get into it. After that, they sort of completely abandon that, and it becomes like about her. The second episode is actually about her getting used to the jetpack and getting used to being the Rocketeer, but it seems like the second episode, they totally drop that completely. My one thing with it is I do think, there aren't a lot of action shows for kids. It's not DC Superhero Girls. I don't think it's the cartoon community is not going to talk about the show at all. I'm probably the only one who's going to. I do like that it made a whole new character of it, but you could probably say, why is it even called a Rocketeer? Why didn't you just make a show called Jetpack Girl and just do that? And I would say you have a good point. It doesn't do anything like with its time period, much like the Rocketeer movie did with the 1940s. It could have done something like, hey, let's have it take place in the 90s or something. It is interesting how far removed she is from the original Rocketeer, whereas like the Rocketeer's son is a boomer. The girl's parents are obviously like Generation X, so she's like very far removed from it, and so I think that gives it some space and everything like that, which I thought was cool. I generally think this is a good kid show. It sort of reminds me of the Muppet Babies reboot in that I don't really love it, but I think it's good for those kind of a bland kind of kid shows and stuff. It's trying to start off a whole rogues gallery of like these 2 characters, Laurel and Harley. I just got that joke. Fucking hell. Laurel and Hardy? Is it Laurel and Harley? That's Laurel. God damn it. That's so lame. Anyway, they're definitely pushing those 2 a lot. It looks like a fine show. It's basically like her grandfather and her friend and her trying to do things together and trying to solve these crimes and things like that. It's a fun kid show. I think of those kind of blander, like it doesn't have much to it. It's just a simple adventure thing. Of those on Disney Junior or Disney Channel, it's probably one of the better ones. Sort of like Muppet Babies, where I'm like, yeah, this reboot's pretty good for that kind of a show, but it's not like a great show or anything. But Sophie's really into it. She really liked it. She kept rewatching the 2 episodes. So I don't think I'm ever going to do another review of this. I just kind of wanted to say, like, I am very much for how they did it and rebooted it and made it definitely its own thing. I just kind of question, like, why do that to the Rocketeer? Like, what's the point? What is your point with this? It seems like they're going to do other World War II kind of references in it. They haven't done that yet. They show clips of it, and I'm like, okay, so there's another episode or something like that with that, but we haven't seen that yet. But as of right now, I think, like, if you saw this on Disney Plus and we're like, oh, I'll watch an episode, just watch the pilot, and that's all you really need to do. Watch that first cartoon and then move on, because the rest is not for you. Very clearly not for me, and I like how it, like, is completely does that. It is a couple people or one person's asking, is it like Paw Patrol or McStuffins with a jetpack? It sort of is in that kind of a vein, and it just sort of doing its thing in that way. I don't know if it's a priority for them or anything like that. I do like that they brought the original actor back to play her dad, although he's only in that one first episode, and he plays like no like kind of fatherly role. She just saves him. The grandfather is kind of more of the bigger thing, and he's not voiced by that actor. If you are into the Rocketeer, I recommend the pilot, and I recommend it for kids, but to be honest, like I think I'd prefer like DC Superhero Girls if you're wanting a show for specifically an action show specifically for girls. But if you're wanting like any other kind of cartoon show, it'd probably be lower on the list. It's just like, it's good, you know, compared to like the other shows my daughter watches, it's a little better, but it doesn't like kind of have all the fun and doing funs with that kind of character that the original did. I kind of hope they have a little more fun with it, but clearly they are, because I missed the Laurel and Hardy reference. So maybe they're doing more stuff that I actually realized, despite calling it kind of simple and stuff like that. But it was kind of a fun 2-episode watch, and I hope for them for the best with it. I like sort of how they reinvented it.